I've never seen anything like this. It is literally all the ducks are lining up around somebody who does not know what state he's in, does not know what day it is, does not know what office he's running. I don't even say this to be funny.
He's awful. Joe Biden is an awful candidate, and the fact that these knuckleheads, these centrists, these moderates, these Republican light, these establishment, are it's just awful. And when you see everybody just line up, when you're seeing them just line up, and just be a bunch of robots that just go where they're being told to go, not only the establishment, but I guess the electorate too, it's a little disheartening and it's frustrating. Again, and when you hear these people talk on the mainstream media, not people like you and Crystal Ball and all the, my posse, my teammates for the independent media, it's just a whole different ballgame. And if you figure, 5 corporations own 70, 80, 90% of the media, where 70, 80, 90% of the electorate get their information from, they're just being told what to do. And they've, like you said, they follow along like good little soldiers. So the fact that bounce that Biden had after South Carolina, and to see that's all they've been spewing is Biden. It makes a little sense, but at the same time, it doesn't. I mean, also too, we feel like since there's no uniformity in our voting integrity, who knows what they do behind closed doors.
Right here,
but it's awful.
Right here in California, there is a new voting machines being used. And there's long lines. There's reports that elderly voters, Latino voters are having trouble with the new voting machines, which makes sense because it's not easy to figure these out. I'd like to ask you, because to me, I'm looking at these results, and everything is going to say, "Oh, Biden, the Biden surge." But if you read in the poll, if you read in the results, Elizabeth Warren is taking between 7 to 10 points away from Bernie in a lot of these states. If she wasn't in Massachusetts, Bernie is winning right now.
Well, yeah.
If she's not Colorado, he'd be leading by a lot more. Texas, California, obviously she can run if she wants. But if you believe in the progressive cause, right now she is the reason Biden is running up those margins, and Bernie in the states he's winning is not running away with it. And the margin would be a lot closer if she wasn't in it, because a lot of her votes going to Bernie, not Biden.
Well, 2 things. One, Dean Logan, suck it. You're the guy who did he's the guy who runs the LA County Register. He's the one that decided, or whoever did, maybe Alex Padilla, decided to put these new voting machines in. They've never tested them in a midterm election, when obviously even that amount of electorate wouldn't be there, let alone one of the most important elections in our modern history right now. So shame on you, Dean Logan. And then, good, shame on you too, Elizabeth Warren. The fact that she's run her whole time like she's invented the word progressive, especially with all her, followers, is just gross. If you were really a progressive, yeah, you should have dropped out and endorsed Bernie. But you know what? You're not, Elizabeth. You're not a progressive. And that, too, definitely is hurting our movement, because, yes, it's splitting up all the votes. And these mainstream media knuckleheads, when they're talking about, oh, Bernie hasn't expanded the electorate, look, he's not doing as well in Maine, or he's also going against like 3 or 4 or 5 more people. So, of course, those numbers aren't going to necessarily look right. But, yeah, the fact that you have someone in there like Warren who should have bowed out, didn't, and now you have all these establishment people going in there, where again it's what Bernie said, it's us against them, and that's what part is it's frustrating, it's a challenge. We're not defeated yet, but yes, listening to all these results to come in has been a little disappointing, but you know what, screw them, we're coming after you, we're going to still win.
You're a 2016 veteran. When you see, all of the banana peels they threw at Bernie then. What's going on right now makes that look like child's play. This is like a legalized mafia, what's going on.
Right.
And Obama, from all reports, is pulling the strings behind. And Obama is Obama's not a stupid guy. He sees Biden and the train, the wheels coming off the bus. Are they that obsessed with keeping the money? Are they that obsessed with keeping the consultants and the think tanks and the lobbyists and this revolving door? Because Obama's not stupid. He sees that Biden is not the right candidate.
Yeah. Shame on you too, President Obama. All of them. Jordan, look. What I was talking about the last time when you guys interviewed me back in Nevada. Bernie's policies disrupt the money flow. If you look at his policies, they're going to dress up Wall Street, which again, Wall Street is manipulated anyway, so you can't even really judge that. The economy, they base people's well-being on some manipulated numbers that the top 20% are the ones who are manipulating it anyway. So when you look at Bernie's policies, yes, it's going to change that, probably anywhere from 10 or 15, maybe 20%. That's going to affect all the industries that Bernie calls out, and mostly it's going to also call out the Democratic Party. It's gonna take away that money flow, that access that Bill Clinton unleashed it back in the early 90s, and Barack Obama is a product of that establishment system. So the fact that either he's tipping the scales, you have all these establishment people using the mainstream media as their mouthpiece, which I coined last time, or that to Jedi mind the electorate, is just crazy. And again, it's very disheartening. Once you see the wizard, you can't unsee it. And you know, having these big establishment Democratic figures say what they say to most of the electorate, who again, you know, I don't know how this is going to come across. I don't want to sound like an elitist, I'm not, but most of the American electorate is pretty unaware or even ignorant to the degree that they don't follow the money trail as much as I would say Bernie Sanders followers do, to see how incestuous it really is.
I also think most of the American electorate, I'm talking about African Americans at this point, probably were unaware that Joe Biden has been lying about being arrested in South Africa, that he's been lying about participating in civil rights sit-ins, that he's going around playing footsie with every Wall Street banker in America. I'm not saying he would have lost South Carolina. I'm not saying he would have lost these southern states. Right. But black people are not stupid. And frankly, no. I think they deserve to know that this guy who's saying, you know me, and I've been fighting for the black community forever, is exploiting the black community to, I mean, you know the difference if you were stopped versus thrown in a jail cell. Yeah, totally. You would know if you participated in sit-ins. It's not a bad thing if you didn't. Not everyone did. But
don't go promoting yourself that you did.
But the media has been covering for him. It wasn't asked about in the debates before South Carolina. It wasn't asked about in a town hall he did for an hour on CNN. It was barely asked by a CNN anchor the day before South Carolina. He just said, oh, I was stopped. They don't even follow up. The double standard here. Can you imagine if Bernie Sanders lied about that?
Well, look, can you imagine that if, like, even with Elizabeth Warren, having like all these bougie white people, you know, in their electorate, that Bernie kind of got hammered last time in 2016. She had more white people in this time than Bernie did. But again, because it's Elizabeth Warren, they gave her a free pass. Anything that happens with Bernie, they just crush him and they just put him under a microscope. So yeah, the mainstream media is in cahoots with the Democratic Party. They're the mouthpiece. And at the end of the day, look, like I was saying before, with the way the money flows in, the mainstream media and the Democratic Party would rather have someone like Trump in office than Bernie, because again, at least they're still making their profits to their shareholders and their CEOs. So, you know, we're going against the whole establishment system, whether it's the political establishment, whether it's the corporate establishment, which involves the mainstream media. You know, we're against all those systems. So we got an uphill battle. You know, I told Chris Matthews he could, and look at Chris Matthews no longer on MSNBC. Who else? James Carville. Go yourself. You know who else I want to go tell him to go himself? Terry McAuliffe. I just saw you. I was listening to you on CNN, on Sirius XM. Go yourself, Terry McAuliffe. You're an asshole. And again, all these dudes, this is what I was telling Jen before. It's one small little, like, fraternity and sorority. If these mainstream media, they're 1% celebrity regurgitators. And if you're not in the 1%, you're like in the top 20%, and you're trying to crawl your way up there to be in that 1%. So you're in these small little cliques, you're in these small little groups, you're getting time on these mainstream media, you have a little bit of celebrityness with them, you're getting access to all these different events and the thing. And again, your world is totally different than the other 80%, you know? And so you're using the mainstream media as a tool, as a mouthpiece to tell the rest of the 80% what you think we need. Which again, having that money and power creates a psychosis in people's brains where they're disconnected from the real reality, Jordan. And that's what's really messed up in this country. You know, the fact that we don't have, like, PBS, you could used to look at PBS or NPR. They used to be somewhat on the neutral side. But now, you have, since it's not Fox or Breitbart, you have stations like CNN or MSNBC, The Hill, Politico,
Daily Beast.
You have all these news organizations. Because it's not Fox or Breitbart, you would think on some level they're telling you the truth. But again, all those people that are involved in those publications, they're all in that fraternity and sorority. As George Carlin used to say, it's a big club and you ain't in it.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.